get from that team?
The good thing that we got going for us is the fact that each day throughout the year, we've continued to spend a little time defending the option, and that's something that we continue to stay committed to, just because we want to be prepared for these games against our academy rivals. Certainly not having the game experience and not having played year after year and gone through spring ball and gone through fall camp and gone through spring ball again and go through fall camp in a season, I think you get that seasoned veteran experience, which they don't have. But they're both very talented young players. They're both very athletic, and I think they've both improved tremendously throughout the season, as I've seen a lot of our freshmen do, and that's been encouraging. I think that Jay will keep the schemes and keep the calls simple enough for those guys that they won't have confusion, that they'll be able to play and play their assignment, which I think is important anyway. I don't have a desire to be too multiple and where our guys are playing slow and having to guess. I want them to be able to be confident about their assignment and play really fast. And I think when both of those guys do that, they're both pretty good players. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, and certainly Navy will have something to do with that. They'll be able to dictate some of that with formations and plays that they run, and just as we try to do. But I'm confident in those guys. And there's, as you said, there's a lot of young guys at that position, and I think there's some really talented guys at that position. So that whole group of freshman linebackers, Holt, Davidson, Nautigal, the two guys you mentioned, Ramirez, Corey Sanders, there's some really good young football players. Cole Masick, a lot of those guys are playing on special teams, not playing all the time on defense, but there's some good players there. I'm excited about watching those guys grow up.
And Coach, during the year we talked about the offensive line, how it's grown, sustained injuries, and the need to sustain blocks. You've got two sophomores, a freshman, and the two seniors playing. How do you feel they're prepared for this game?
Well, we got some guys that played in the game. Certainly Hugenberg, having Alexander, Villegas, all played in this game a year ago. Gilbert didn't play last year, obviously, but has played in this game. And so there's some veteran guys that have been in the game. And the challenge is, as it's always been, is the athleticism of a defensive lineman as opposed to an offensive lineman, and being able to stay on blocks and move your feet, and that's the thing we challenge our guys with every day. And it's it's their job to get the thing started. And as I told our team, or told our offensive line, I should say, that our team is going to go as they go, and they got to be the ones to win the football game for us. So I know there's a great sense of urgency. Our offensive line coaches do a great job and coach with exact detail. When you watch us practice, whether it's a drill or we're going through a scrimmage snap, there's a lot of coaching going on, and I think those guys have really battled, and if you've got them healthy, which we're not completely healthy, every one of those guys, but a lot of those guys are playing with injuries, and I won't say which ones. I don't want to help anybody out, but some of those guys are fighting through some things that they got going, but just masking it with grit and determination. So I think they'll play hard. I've got a lot of confidence in those guys, and what'll be interesting is to see how we perform against what I think is a really good Navy defensive line.
Thank you, Coach.
Any more questions via teleconference? All right, Rich in the back.
Hey, Coach. Rich LaMarco, Army Sports Network. Chris Carter, you had some before the Rutgers game. You mentioned things that had really impressed you throughout the year in practice. Rutgers game and since, what are the things that maybe he brought to the table that you hadn't seen in practice that makes him really a viable candidate to be the starting quarterback on Saturday?
he played with a lot of confidence against Rutgers, and that's not always the case when a guy gets his first start, regardless of what position it is. Certainly at that position. And what's unique is that the kid had never played a college football snap before. Now, the way the games went this year, we didn't have any games where you could just be experimental and say, hey, let's put this quarterback in for a series or two. We're winning the game by 30 points. We'll see what he can do. Usually those young guys get seasoned by doing that. And other places that start freshman quarterbacks sometimes have been able to redshirt them. So the coaches have been able to coach them for a year, and they've been on your practice field, and they've been through spring ball, and you got a little better idea. You just sometimes you put a guy in a game, you have no idea what he's going to do. And Chris Carter, as I said, going into the Rutgers game, I mean, Wednesday, Thursday, we're talking about what are we going to do if we continue to drop snaps. He and Matt Kaufman and Luke Langdon, the other freshman who had never played in a snap before the Rutgers game, were the only healthy quarterbacks we had. And at one point on Thursday, we dropped 4 out of 5 snaps, just trying to take the snap, couldn't run a play. You get in the game, it's, what do you do? Well, we're talking about our shotgun plays and, just what can we do out of that? So in case that's a problem, that's what you face when you've got a freshman quarterback that's never played before. So we didn't know going into that game what we were going to get. If he was going to drop the first 4 out of 5 snaps. And, it'd be disastrous. But as it turns out, he did a great job. Had the one contact fumble, which was disappointing. We got that one back. But really, for his first time out, really took care of the ball and played very poised. And we got a chance to see him as an athlete. And he's quick, he's got good feet, ran the ball with confidence, delivered the ball, pitched it and handed it off, and did all the things that we do in the offense. And I thought just handled it remarkably well for a young guy and gave us the confidence that we could put him in the game again. Start a game or put him in the game if we needed to, and that's kind of where we're at with him now. So we're working all 3 of them, and certainly feel confident enough that he can trot out there the first snap and be the starter if that's what we decide to do.